more minute till the door's closed. One more glance around the track. Snow is piled along the edges, thin white lines that won't come back. People searching for their carriage, checking numbers, fixing scars. I just stand beside the railing, filling in our missing part. There's a space where you once waited, hands tucked deep inside your coat. I can almost see your outline in the winter heavy smoke. One last look before I go. Dernier regard avant le départ. Not to turn this into drama, not to ask for who you are, just to say inside my chest, thank you for the roads we shared. Then I face the open doorway with a different kind of care. Loudspeakers repeat the warning. Doors will close and trains will leave. In my pocket folded neatly lies the year I choose to grieve. All the jokes we left unfinished, all the trips we never took, they are folded like that letter that I wrote but never sent. I don't need to see you standing here again to feel you near. You're a season in my story, not a weight I have to steer. One last look before I go. Dernier regard avant le départ. I release the old reflection that I kept of who you were. Not erasing, not denying, just allowing it to fade like the outlines of this platform when the train begins to sway. Maybe growing isn't saying I will never think of you, but admitting when I do now, it feels softer, it feels true. I can watch our little movie play in silence in my mind. Then I press the gentle pause key and leave yesterday behind. One last look before I go. Snow and steel and winter sky. Dernier regard avant le départ. I don't need another try. I will carry what was tender, leave the rest beside these rails. Step inside this moving morning with a heart that finally exhales as the whistle breaks the stillness and the carriage starts to hum. I turn once toward Lyon's platform, then I let the future come.
Snow is resting on the tracks, thin white lines across the steel. Morning hasn't found its color, everything is soft and still. Distant speakers clear their throats, calling numbers through the air. Every echo feels like pages from a year we used to share. I stand quiet by the window, watch my breath become a cloud. All the words I never managed float ahead and fade back out. Snow on the tracks of Lyon, covering where we used to run. Every train that leaves the station carries off another sun. Neige, sur les voies de Lyon, I just whisper symphony. Not with anger, not with heartbreak, just a gentle letting be. Suitcase in crooked lines, boots that tap and then grow still. People dressed in different futures, all with somewhere else to fill. I remember last December how we stood here side by side, sharing cheap and burning coffee, laughing at the way we lied. We said next year we'll be better, we'll be braver, we'll be new. But the calendar kept turning and we stayed the same, me and you. Snow on the tracks of Lyon, hiding all our hurried plans. Every flake that falls between them softens where our footsteps land. Neige sur les voies de Lyon, je te laisse dans le froid. Not in pieces, not in anger, just outside of who I am now. Maybe some loves are just stations, places where we stop and rest. Warm enough to heal our winter, not a home but still a nest. I can thank you for the shelter without needing to return. I can hold you as a chapter that no longer has to burn. Snow on the tracks of Lyon, I breathe in and let you go. All the carriages keep moving, pulling yesterday through snow. Neige sur les voies de Lyon, je murmure bonne année. May your mornings find you softly in the light you couldn't stay. First bell rings across the platform, pigeons scatter in the sky. I stay rooted for a moment, then I turn and step inside.
I found your old scarf in a drawer, still twisted in the way you tied it. Faint perfume and winter dust, holding years we never quite did. Colors faded at the edges, little pulls along the seam, like the places in our story where we stretch beyond our means. In my hands it feels much lighter than the way I used to feel. I can lay it on my shoulders without sinking where I kneeled. Oh, your scarf was my winter once, torn it sharp, Mon Hiver, wrapped around my lonely seasons, keeping out a certain air. Now I wear it for a moment, not to bring your shadow near, just to honor how you held me when the world felt hard to bear. when the world felt hard to bear. I remember frozen platforms, how you pulled it over me, tucking in the little spaces where the wind could slip and sting. We were young and half pretending we were tougher than the cold, but your hands were always careful when they touched my guarded bones. I don't miss you with that hunger that once ate the days alive. What remains is something softer, like a song that learned to glide. Your scarf was my winter once, Tony Sharp, Mon Hiver. I can feel the way you love me in the threads that linger there. Not a claim and not a chain, not a reason to rewind, just a gentle woven echo of the way you warm my mind, of the way you warm my mind, yeah. Maybe this is what remains when the fire is gone to sleep. Not the blaze and not the ashes, just a quiet, steady heat. I can pack this in my suitcase, take it to another year, knowing you are not my present, but a kind and distant sphere. Your scarf was my winter once, I fold it with a grateful hand. Tony Sharp, Mon Hiver, I no longer make demands. If someday the snow is heavy and the nights are hard to cross, I may wear it for an evening, not to find you, but get lost. Not to find you, but get lost. In a softer kind of silence, in a kind of cold, I can feel my own heart glowing where your scarf once held my soul. Paper cup between my fingers, steam is curling in the air. By my feet a tired suitcase, wears the scars of everywhere. One is hot and one is frozen, just like heart and just like mind. Part of me is ready leaving, part of me me stays far behind. Announcements blur into a hum, like a band of distant bees. I can only hear the rhythm of my own unsteady breath. Hot coffee, cold suitcase, standing in this in-between. Je dis au revoir à l'année, to the places I have been. Café Chaud, Valise, Froide, I am learning how to stand, not in rush and not in ruin, just with empty open hands. You once sat across this table with your ticket and your smile, tracing circles on the carton, talking about in a while. We believed in softer futures, gentle cities down the line, but we packed our expectations in a bag that wasn't mine. I won't blame you, won't blame timing, won't blame snow or crowded trains. Some good things are simply fragile, and that doesn't make them vain. Hot coffee, cold suitcase, I release what couldn't stay. Merci pour les nuits d'hiver, for the words we couldn't say. Café Chaud, Valise, Froide, I can feel my shoulders drop. There is nothing left to carry but the will to simply stop, for a moment just to stop. Maybe starting a new year is not cutting every string, but untangling them gently, seeing what they choose to bring. I will board the coming morning with a lighter kind of heart, not erasing what we started, only choosing where I start. Hot coffee, cold suitcase, on this quiet station floor. I am softer than December, but I'm stronger than before. Café Chaud, Valise, Froide, je murmure nouvelle essai. Not a perfect shining future, just a calmer honest day. I take one more sip and linger, let the warmth fade from the cup. When I lift the handle slowly, I can feel the year look up.
Departure board is blinking softly. Cities changing row by row. Names of places I don't know yet flicker in a gentle glow. Underneath the shifting ceiling, I sit with my stolen time, listening to distant voices, calling numbers, calling lines. in the murmur of the speakers, in the rustle of the crowd. There's a melody that hides like a secret, faint but proud. A sweet song under the board. Chanson douce sous l'affichage. I can hear it in the humming, in the echo, in the wash. It's not singing about sorrow, it's not begging for a stay. Just a quiet, steady promise that I'll be okay today. Last year's weight is on my shoulders, but it's lighter than before. I have cried and I have rested. I don't need to keep that war. Every failing, every almost, every crack that let in light, learn to whisper, you're still breathing. Even on the hardest nights, now this station feels like chorus. Every suitcase, every coat is a verse in some grand story that we're writing as we go. A sweet song under the board. Chanson douce sous l'affichage. Not a grand and shining anthem, just a small and honest page. It is telling me in fragments, in the rust and in the glass, that I don't have to be perfect just to let this moment pass. Maybe this is what beginning really looks and sounds like now. Not a fireworks confession, just a deeper, slower vow. I will treat my heart more gently. I will rest when I am tired. I will love without demanding that the future be required. A sweet song under the board. I can hum it as I rise. Chanson douce sous l'affichage. In my chest and in my eyes. Trains will come and trains will leave. Love will stay and love will fade. But this quiet inner music is the choice that I have made. I stand up and check the numbers. Hear my platform softly named. With this song beneath the singage, I step toward another day. Glasses fogged with quiet breathing, fingerprints and fragile lines. Outside buildings blur together like a half-remembered time. Streetlights float in little halos, hanging over empty roads. Lyon looks like it's been painted by a hand that's letting go. I draw circles on the window. watch them fade and start again. Every pattern feels familiar, like the shape of us back then. Foggy window, sleeping town. Fenêtre in Ville and Repos. I am somewhere in between where I came from, where I'll go. I don't need to solve this story, I don't need to change the end. I just breathe and let the city be my quiet, distant friend. Trains move like a gentle heartbeat, steady, honest, slow and sure. I can feel my worries loosen with each passing softer turn. Once I thought that love meant holding every moment in my fist. Now I see it in the spaces that I simply let exist. There are people fast asleep in all these houses that we pass. Some awake with heavy sorrows, some awake and let them last. Foggy window, sleeping town. Fenêtre and Ville and Repos. All the streets that knew our footsteps learned to rest beneath the snow. I don't need to walk them over, counting every single mark. I can trust they still remember, even when I leave them dark. Maybe peace is not forgetting, it's the choice to gently see that the pain has lost its sharpness, that it doesn't govern me. I will visit you in memory like a station in the night. Then I'll step back on the carriage when it's time to meet the light. Foggy window, sleeping town. I lean back and close my eyes. All our past goodbyes. When the glass begins to clear and the day begins to rise, I will greet the quiet skyline with no need to compromise. Breath fades slowly from the surface, city lights grow thin and few. In this gentle moving silence, I feel room for someone new. Snow has melted from the platforms, but the chill is in the air. Morning crowds move like a river, soft and certain everywhere. I walk through the same old station with a different kind of gaze. Nothing much has really changed here, but I'm not the same today. I have stood in all these corners, held my sorrows by the hand. Now they walk like they finally understand. The winner at the station of Lyon, Hiver à la Gare, de Lyon. You have seen my quiet endings. You have watched my heart undone. Now you see a softer chapter, not a stranger, not a child, just a soul who found some stillness in your echoing dials. Trains depart and trains arrive. Doors slide open, life step through. I no longer fear the motion or the things I cannot choose. In the distance, someone's laughing, someone wipes a hidden tear. We are all just brief maneuvers through the tunnels of a year. I don't need dramatic closure. I don't need a perfect scene. I just feel a gentle quiet where the ache once used to be. Winner at the station of Lyon, Fever la la Gare, de Lyon. You still hold my faded footprints. You still hum our little song, but the weight has left the memory. Only fragrance lingers on, like a scarf left in a doorway, like the last breath of a dawn. Maybe this is how we travel, not by winning every mile, but by learning when to loosen what we carried all the while. I will board my coming seasons with a slower, deeper breath, letting love be what it teaches, not a test that I must pass. Finer at the station of Lyon, I step forward warm and clear. Hiver à la Gare, de Lyon. Thank you for this gentle year. Every snowflake, every platform, every letter never sent has become a quiet compass for the days that I'll be spent. As the whistle cuts the silence and the engines start to sing, I walk with my small promise into whatever this year brings. I found an unused ticket in the pocket of my coat, crumpled like a little secret from a train I never took. took. On the back I start a letter that I know I'll never send, writing down the parts of us that I finally understand. There is time before the next train, time enough to say it right, but my hand is slow and careful, like it's tracing fragile light. A folded letter between two trains, resting on my trembling knees. Lettre, plie, entre, deux trains, holding what I choose to keep. I don't need to post it to you, I don't need your eyes to see. It's a bridge across the winter, from who I was to who I'll be. Quiet evenings, cheap red wine and second chairs. How we joked about the future just to hide how much we cared. I confess to all the moments I was distant, I was scared. How I loved you in a language that I never fully shared. Every sentence feels like snowfall, softly covering what we were, not erasing, not denying, just a calmer kind of blur. A folded letter between two trains, my goodbye to who we'd planned. Lettre, plie, entre, deux trains, I can hold it in one hand. I don't write, I hope you miss me, I don't ask you to return. I just thank you for the winter and the things we had to learn. Maybe healing isn't louder than the hurt that came before. Maybe it's a softer whisper written on a station floor. When the speaker calls my platform, I will fold this little page, not to send it across oceans, just to turn another age. A folded letter between two trains, I tuck it in my worn out bag. Lettre, plie, entre, deux trains is a flag I do not flag. It will travel in my pocket till the ink has found its rest, like a map of one small winter pressed against my beating chest. As the carriage doors slide open, I step in and find my seat outside on the snowy platform. Last year's shadows bow and leave. Two dark rivers hold the city, black glass stitched with little lights, bridges like a chain of whispers tie the edges of the night. I walk slowly by the railing, breathe a cloud above the stone, all the thoughts I couldn't quiet gather where the currents roam. I have counted every worry, held each failure to my chest. Now they're drifting with the water, losing shape and losing stress. Sleepless night on Ronin Sornin, Nuit Blanche sur Ronin Sorn. I'm awake with all my questions, but they feel less sharp alone. I don't need a sudden answer, I don't need the sky to change, just this gentle moving darkness telling me it's safe to stay. Reflections of the old facades ripple with the passing breeze. Even solid walls look softer when they lean into the stream. I remember how last winter I believed I had to fix every crack and every silence with a promise I couldn't keep. Now the city seems to show me how to float and how to bend, how to shine without demanding that the darkness has to end. Sleepless night on Ronin Sornin, Nuit Blanche sur Ronin Sorn. I am learning how to hold what I can't quite let be known. I don't fight the restless currents, I don't drown in what I feel. I just stand and let the river prove that motion can be still. Maybe peace is not the absence of the thoughts that keep us up, but the way we sit beside them, like a river, like a cup. I will carry all my questions into one more turning year, not as weights that drag me under, but as lanterns I keep near. Sleepless night on Ronin Sornin, I exhale and close my eyes. Nuit Blanche sur Ronin Sornin, underneath the muted skies. When I walk back through the silence to the station and the tracks, I will know this quiet water has my trembling at its back. Two dark rivers hold their secrets, I leave mine among their waves. By the time the morning finds me, I'll be lighter than I came.
Platform 3 is almost empty, just a suitcase and a chair. Someone's scarf left on the railing holds a ghost of someone there. Cold air slips beneath the collar, but there's warmth along my throat. It's a trace of last year's winter and the things we never spoke. Every Every time the doors slide open, there's a rush of borrowed lives. I stand still and let the current pass me like a quiet tide. Winter perfume on platform 3, soft and sweet and almost gone, like the part of you that lingers when the person has moved on. Parfum d'hiver sur le quai, toi. You're a fragrance, not a flame. I don't need to hold the fire, I just smile to know your name. Someone walks by wearing something that reminds me of your coat. Amber, cedar, hints of citrus, memories in every note. For a second you're beside me, with your hands inside your sleeves, telling jokes about the trains and all the cities we would see. Then the scent is pulled away with the footsteps and the door. I am left with just the echo of a year that isn't yours. Winter perfume on platform 3, I inhale and let it stay. Just a heartbeat in my system, then I softly walk away. Parfum d'hiver sur le quai, toi. Je te garde dans l'air tiède, not as something I must follow, just a note inside my head. We were always more like vapor than a house built out of stone, meant to wrap around the moment, not to be forever home. Now I treat these little traces as a kindness from the past, proof that once my heart was open, and that feeling didn't last. It transformed but didn't crash. Winter perfume on platform 3. I step back and close my eyes. May you find the kind of morning that we never could devise. Parfum d'hiver sur le quai, toi. Merci pour ce que tu fais. You're a chapter I can cherish without needing it renewed. Train doors ring their simple warning. Crowds return in gentle waves. Somewhere in the moving bodies, your old scent has found its way.
The train doors sigh and open, spilling quiet into frozen air. I step down with my small suitcase, Lyon night dusting snow in my hair. Yellow station lights are humming, soft reflections on the polished floor. Every breath hangs like a question that I don't ask anymore. I trace footprints on the platform, letting old years melt behind. Announcements blur to gentle noise like someone calming down my mind. My phone is heavy in my pocket, full of words I never sent. Tonight I travel without reasons, only feelings, only scent. I slow my breathing to the rhythm of the distant turning wheels. In this in-between of tracks and time, I notice how my body feels. The world keeps rushing through the tunnels, but I am standing still. For once I let the silence speak, instead of bending to my will. In the first snow of Lyon tonight, I arrive a little softer than before. Every step on this frozen ground lets the weight of my yesterday go. Let the rails hum low beneath me, let the winter take my oldest fear. In this quiet, glowing station, I am gently starting over here. The hallway where we meet ourselves again. I see the shadow of who I was in the window of this train. I'm not the person who arrived here every other busy year. Tonight I travel with less armor, with a heart that's finally clear. If the snow keeps falling softly, I will let it hide my tracks. I don't need to know the ending to stop wishing to go back. Lyon, hold me in your winter light a little longer. Under this first snow, I am quieter, I am kinder. One more breath, one more small step, and then I go.
January breath is fragile, hanging pale above the street. Shop fronts yawn with sleepy windows, snow is thinning at their feet. I sit by a frosted window with a notebook and a pen, not to write a grand decision, just to talk to me again. All the lists I made last winter felt like armor, felt like walls. This year I just need a promise, small enough to hear my call. A gentle promise for January, promise douce pour Janvier. I will treat this peace heart more kindly. Let it rest when skies are gray. I won't measure every moment by the things I didn't do. I will count the quiet evenings where I simply made it through. People rush with plastic calendars, fresh ambitions in their hands. I have learned that steady breathing is the goal I understand. I will wake without demanding that the day redeem the past. I will let my body tell me when to move and when to last. I don't need to be a story any better than before, just a soul that keeps on learning how to leave one open door. A gentle promise for January, Promesse Douce pour Janvier. I will say no when I'm empty, say I'm tired when I am. I will love without pretending I'm not human, flesh and bone, and forgive the younger versions who believed they were alone. Maybe this is how we honor all the winters we have known, not by swearing to be perfect, but by being more at home. If I stumble, I'll remember this small line upon the page. Be as kind to you this season as you were in darker days. A gentle promise for January, I repeat it under breath. Promesse Douce pour Janvier, threaded through each quiet step. No confetti, no loud speeches, just a whisper in the air. I will try to stay beside me in the year we're going to share. I close the notebook, fold the corner, watch the steam fade from my tea. In this still and simple morning, I am finally on my team. Marble floor and tired echoes, pigeons hiding from the snow, yellow light on painted ceilings, voices murmuring below. I walk slowly through the hallways where we used to count the boards, searching for your faded laughter in the timetables of old. Every step I take is softer, as if I could wake the past. Your reflection in these windows wasn't meant for me to grasp. Your footsteps in the station hall, still ringing in my winter mind. T'es pas dans leur hall de Gare, fading gently over time. I don't chase them like I used to, I just listen as they fall. like a song I learned by heart, that I no longer need at all. Benches hold their quiet stories, someone's suitcase, someone's coat. I remember how you waited, tracing circles on your phone. You were talking about leaving, not just cities, but the year. We were both a little frightened of the things we couldn't steer. In this open, vaulted silence, I can hear what we suppressed. All the maybe and not ready whisper back beneath my steps. Your footsteps in the station hall, I let them wander where they will. T'es pas dans le hall de Gare, or a music faint but real. They don't pull me, they don't break me. They just prove that we were here. Two small hearts beneath these rafters, warming up a single year. Maybe love's not in the staying, but in how we learn to move, how we cross through crowded spaces without losing what was true. I can thank this empty hallway for the shelter that it gave, for the way it held our secrets when we didn't feel so brave. Your footsteps in the station hall are now part of Lyon's own sound. If I hear them, I'll remember how we once walked this same ground. T'es pas dans le hall de Gare, je l'ai laissé dans ce lieu. I'll step forward light and steady, with a softer version of you. I turn once toward the high glass roof, watch the daylight slowly start. Then I follow my